exactly what you want to see. Let's run this puppy in. Score a touchdown and tie this game. Life, run for your life, touchdown on one play. Worked on this in practice. Touchdown. It's up to Kelvin Benjamin. This is all you, buddy. Kelvin Benjamin for a touchdown. Oh, he toasted his man. Holmes toasted his man. Spin move. Oh! Oh! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Water Juice channel, and welcome back to the official series finale of the New York Yankees Legends Fantasy Draft Series, episode number 40. I couldn't just leave it on 39. I mean, it doesn't feel right to leave it on 39, so we had to make a 40th episode, and it's a 40th episode special here. We are going to be taking a look back at some stats. We're going to take a look back at our previous World Series victories, some key moments, maybe reminiscing just a little bit. So I hope you guys do go on to enjoy this series finale video. And if you do, make sure to leave a like on it, hit that notification bell and the subscription button as well. Join the Juice Club. We'd love to have you. Let's get into reminiscing about this Yankees series because it's been really fun. So see you guys in there. All right, here we are. A little bit of a shorter intro. I don't really want to extend it too long. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but as you guys know, the Yankees series officially ended with the 39th episode when we won our 4th out of 5 World Series titles. We went 5 seasons in this game, and we won 4 World Series titles, 4 in a row. The first World Series we lost in the divisional round, I think, because I screwed up and I didn't switch my pitcher out in quick manage, and we got killed in the final game. So that was my fault. But then from then on, I remembered how to do it, and we won. So we could have went 5 for 5, but we went 4 for 5. So all in all, it's still a good result. But I am ending this series because I talked about this in the last episode as well. We're ending this series because, I mean, we've gone 5 years. That's a pretty good mark to end on. Plus, baseball in real life is coming to a close. As of recording this video, the World Series is just about to get underway. I don't know, depending on when this video goes up, the World Series may be a game or 2, maybe 3 even, depending on when this goes up. 3 games deep or some like we're into late October. When the baseball season's starting to end, the World Series is getting underway and all that good stuff. So it just feels right. The views on the baseball videos around YouTube, not just on my channel, are starting to decline a little bit as people start to get more into NFL and NBA and all that good stuff. So it feels right to end the series. And it just so happens that we got to a 5th season, which feels good because it's a nice solid number. Everybody loves those big prime numbers like 5, so it just feels right, you know. It just feels right to end the series. So, and we were kind of lacking on videos towards the end because of 2K and because of Madden, all the content I was pushing on that, because my channel's a Madden channel, so I was pushing out a lot of Madden content, a little bit of 2K content here and there. So MLB kind of got pushed to 3rd, so it just feels right, you know. So in this video, we will reminisce and go over some things. So let's start off. Like I said, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but let's start off with our roster. This is the final roster that we will end off with. Johnny Bench was a phenomenal player for us. We got him after year number 1. I think we traded for him in the spring training period. I'm pretty sure. Maybe we signed him. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go back and look. But we got him from Minnesota. He was very, very productive for us. He kind of dipped off a little bit because the 2024 season, year number 4, we started Joe Mauer the majority of those games. So that's why his stats are kind of lacking a little bit here. I think he got starting roles later in the season because Joe Mauer had gotten hurt that year. So I think that's why he has a little bit better of a more games played and more at-bats and stuff, because I think Joe Mauer got hurt. But overall, Johnny Bench was probably one of the best catchers in the league. And I know I always say this in my videos, Johnny Bench, you can't throw on the greatest catcher of all time. And that's true. You can't throw on the greatest catcher of all time. And then we got Barry Bonds, who was our very first pick in the Legends draft. In very episode number 1, if you guys go all the way back to the very first episode of this series, Barry Bonds was the number 1 pick that we took. So he's been here since the beginning, all 5 years. His best season was year number 3, or year number 4, I should say, in terms of home runs. But his best year, in my opinion, was year number 2. This is when I think I started to finally start hitting well with Barry Bonds. 40 home runs, hit 326 on the year average-wise, 125 driven in, 410 on base percentage, 600 slugging, a 1.01 OPS. I mean, this was a really good season for Barry Bonds. Like, it was probably, in my opinion, one of my favorite seasons. So he did really, really well. I'm really happy that we kept Barry Bonds the entire year, or the entire series, because there was times where I thought about trading him. Roger Clemens obviously has not been here that long. We got him in the end of year number 5 at the trade deadline. Could have been called a controversial pick, but I think it was well worth it because he ended up winning the Cy Young and the... No, he didn't win it. It was Randy Johnson who won it. I was going to say he ended up winning the Cy Young and MVP, but that was Randy Johnson. We'll get to him in a second. But Roger spent 4.5 years, I should say, in Oakland. Pitched really, really well, except for he had a kind of a down year in year number 2, but a lot of people have down years in this kind of series because there's so many good players. He had 5.52 ERA, 19 losses. It was a really bad year. But then he picked it back up, 10-12, 19-7, 21-6, and he won a World Series with us. So Roger Clemens, good pickup at the end. And then we got the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig, who we got at the trade deadline in year number 4. And he basically won us the World Series in year number 4. He was the key piece to that puzzle that we needed. And one of the best pickups, in my opinion, probably the best pickup that we made in this whole series, because he was just so clutch. Towards the end, he was the only guy I could hit a home run with. But I mean, Glaber Taurus became that guy at the very end. But there for a little bit, Lou Gehrig was the only guy I could hit a home run with, and he proved it with 44 home runs and then 28 in year number 2 with us. So Lou Gehrig was a great pickup. Love to have him on the team. Ryan Howard, I feel kind of bad because we got him after year number 2. He played in AAA for that entire year. After year number 1, I should say. He played in AAA the entire year. Then we brought him up for a game during the postseason, I think. And then I think it was after this year, I promised him that he would have a spot on the team because it was either this year or it was this year. One of these 2 years, he won us the World Series with a catch at first base. He made the catch that saved the World Series for us. So Ryan Howard, for sure, I feel kind of bad for. He got a lot of playing time in the final year. When I finally gave him a spot, I actually followed up on my word and gave him a spot. I feel kind of bad because I wanted him to play more, but we just had so much talent at first base that it was kind of hard to fit him in there. And obviously Griffey was playing DH, so it was kind of harder to... Towards the end, he played more DH because Griffey was getting a little bit older. So I do feel kind of bad about Ryan Howard, but it worked out in the end. Then we got Randy Johnson. What do we talk about with Randy Johnson? Because this man, all 3 years he's been on the Yankees was Cy Young seasons. 19-3, 21-7, 22-3, and then the final year, year number 5, he won the Cy Young and the MVP. So, I mean, what else can you say? He had a 2.93 ERA, 3 losses, only gave up 204 hits on the year. I mean, it's just like you can't really describe the greatness that Randy Johnson produced in this series. 3 straight years of just phenomenal pitching. We gave up a lot. I do remember to get Randy Johnson, but it was very, very much worth it because he was coming off of a 16-10 year where he pitched 294, 232 innings. So, I mean, he was coming off of a decent year, but we knew what we were getting when we got Randy Johnson. So it was a very good pickup. Joe Mauer, we traded for the same season we got Randy Johnson. he did not play a whole lot. Like I said, this is the year that he started most of the games and then got hurt, which is why he only played 124 games. And then Johnny Bench came in and played the rest. So he was doing really well until he got hurt. And then he kind of moved back to the bench once the second or the final season started, because then Johnny Bench just kept the starting role because he was just playing so well that you couldn't really move him out. But he was a good pickup. I like having Joe Mauer on the squad. Willie Mays, we didn't really get to use a whole lot. He played in AAA for 3 out of the 4 seasons. This year, he only played 21 games because I think he got moved up here when I didn't notice and played some games. Or maybe I had him up here and then I moved him down. I can't remember exactly what I did. But I feel kind of bad about some of the guys that we had in AAA that arguably should have been in the majors. But we just had so many guys at that point that I chose who I wanted to have. And Willie Mays, unfortunately, wasn't one of them. Not a knock on Willie Mays. I really do like Willie Mays, but he just wasn't better than... I love Ken Griffey Jr., so I had to have him on the squad. As for A-Rod, we traded for him after year number 1. I remember this. It was fantastic. He was coming off of an MVP season. He had 55 home runs. He hit 355. His best season by far was the very first year of this series. Then we traded for him. He was priority number 1. He was priority number 1 for sure. He hit 37 home runs, 99 RBIs, 313 average. Cooled down a little bit from his crazy year he had on the Nationals, but I'm very happy that we got him. He kind of never really produced like he did in the Nationals. He got close one year, in year number 4, where he hit 46 home runs, 111 RBIs, and a 311 average. He got up there, but he was never really the same that he was on the Nationals. That's understandable. He's got so much more talent around him here in New York that he didn't have in Washington, so the production kind of slipped a little bit, which is understandable. So, and I really never hit that well with him. I think I only hit maybe 2 or 3 home runs with him in total in the 4 years that we had him in played games. So maybe not even that. I know I hit one with him in the All-Star game one year, but I didn't hit a lot of home runs with A-Rod. I don't know why it was. I just couldn't figure out the timing, I guess. He just never got it. Johan Santana, we traded for him in the 4th season, halfway through. We got him from Detroit. He was pitched really well in Detroit and then continued to pitch really well for us. He's one of those guys that always seemed to have a very, very high ERA. Every single season, it just like kept getting higher. I mean, I know he had an outlier here with Detroit, but it just like, I mention this all the time, in a series like this with so many good hitters in the league, all these legends plus all the real life players that are really good, it's super hard to have a sub 3 ERA, which is why it's crazy that Randy Johnson did that, or Roger Clemens did that, or some of the other pitchers in the league did that, because that's how good they are. So it's just so hard to have such a low ERA with so much talent you have to pitch against. So a 3.5 ERA is more along the lines of a 2.5 ERA or a 1.5 ERA. Like you gotta adjust for inflation when it comes to a series like this. So him having a 4.18 ERA, if he was pitching in without all these guys, he'd probably have a sub 2 or a 2 at the most or something. So it balances out towards the end. But he pitched really well. I was really happy we got him. David Wright never really got to use. He was more of a utility piece, a bench piece. He's one of my favorite players of all time. And he was on those Arizona teams that we played against in the World Series, especially this year. I think this is the year we played against him. And then we played against him this year, obviously. And I think did we play them back-to-back years? I can't remember. But we definitely went up against him this year. And he had a really good season that year. His best year by far was that year, the year they went to the World Series. And then we traded for him. We got him. He played the bench a lot. And he came in when people were injured and was very, very productive. Good pickup for us. I'm happy that we got a guy like David Wright, because you always want a guy like David Wright. Jose Bautista played all of the years in Oakland, except for the final season when we got him at the deadline. I was hoping that I could get to use Jose Bautista a little bit more, mainly because I like Jose Bautista, and he was more of a piece that we would get hoping that the series would extend a little bit more. I wanted to get him earlier in the series, but it just never really worked out that way. So we got him when we did, and the series is over now. So it kind of sucks that we don't get to see what he could become on the Yankees, but it's all right. I mean, maybe next year we'll get him earlier. I don't know. Bryce Harper is a weird one because he was on the Rangers for the entire time. Then this year, he goes and wins the MVP, 2024. He wins the MVP, hitting 44 home runs, 145 RBIs, 359 average, a crazy season. We trade for him in that offseason. We get him, and then he doesn't play much. And that's probably my bad, because I probably shouldn't have gotten a guy that was at a position that we didn't really need. I don't really like to say this, but getting Bryce Harper was more of a move to weaken our opponents rather than make us better. You know what I mean? Like, I got him from the Rangers to not have him on the Rangers so we didn't have to play against him. And that kind of seems kind of slimy, but I mean, it's a competition. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. So I don't necessarily feel too bad about it. He did play pretty productively in the 93 games that we had him in. He started a little bit, and he hit 24 home runs, but it was more out of necessity to get him off the Rangers than that I just wanted him on the team. So that's kind of how I feel about Bryce Harper in this series. Jason Hayward, yeah, we got him after the 2022 season, and he was in AAA for the rest of the time. That's my bad. We probably should have never even gotten Jason Hayward. But I like Jason Hayward. I feel like he had potential. He had potential to be something on this team. We just didn't get him at the right time. If we would have got him initially or after year number 1, maybe he finds his spot on this team. But since we got him 3 years in, it just never worked out. He never made the team, and he never played in the major leagues. Ichiro is a guy that I really, really like. Got him from the Indians after year 2. He played a lot in year number 1 we had him in. Year 4, technically, of the franchise, year 2 of his tenure here, he started to decline a little bit, and then we moved him to AAA, which I feel kind of bad about because I got Ichiro to play with Ichiro, but towards the end, I started to get a lot of right fielders. You know how previously, like the first couple of seasons, I barely had any right fielders. I had Jason Hayward, I had Sami Sosa, and I had somebody else, but then I started to pile up right fielders. I had Jose Bautista at the end, Ichiro, Bryce Harper. I had like 3 extra right fielders at the end, so I started to pile up a position that I didn't really need, and Ichiro was a faculty, or not a faculty, a fatality of that, I guess, if you want to phrase it like that. Sami Sosa, I mentioned him just briefly. We got him after the second year, and in his first game as a Yankee, first played game as a Yankee, I think it was on opening day, he hit a home run. Maybe it wasn't on opening day. I can't remember. I know he hit a home run very early into his tenure as a Yankee. And he ended up with 31 home runs that year, 273 average. He did go down to AAA at the final season, which sucks, but I decided to play Bryce Harper over him. So I feel kind of bad that we did that to Sammy, but he was productive enough for us. Glaber Taurus. Here's a guy that is a weird one. Played for 3 seasons, on the Braves. We got him at the trade deadline, along with Lou Gehrig. They were the 2 big moves that we made. And like I mentioned with Lou Gehrig, there was a time where I could only hit home runs with one guy, and that was Lou Gehrig. Well, at the end, I could only hit home runs with Glaber Taurus, and he went off. He had a great World Series. He had a great game 6 or 5, whatever game we clinched it in. I think it was game 5. Maybe it was game 4. I think we swept the Diamondbacks the final year. But whatever the clinching game was, he had a great game. hit, I think, 2 home runs in that game too. And he was just like really, really good. Like Glaber Taurus became my favorite hitter. He almost won the home run derby in the final year, which would have been amazing. We all know, Juice can't win all-star game contests. I can't win dunk contests. I can't win home run derbies. I can't win three-point contests. Hardy har har. We get it. I suck at those things. But I almost got it with Glaber. I was so close. I just couldn't do it at the end. I ran out of steam. And yeah, maybe next year we'll do it. I don't know. But Glaber was one of those guys that became one of my favorite players in this series. Troy Tulowitzki, got him in the final year. This was mainly just a want. Like, I wanted to have Troy Tulowitzki on the team. It was kind of a need because Derek Jeter never really developed overall-wise into the guy that I thought he was going to be. So getting a 97 overall shortstop to start in the rotation or in the lineup was definitely a need. But the reason we got Tulowitzki instead of somebody else is I just like Troy Tulowitzki. So we got him from the Royals. He had a really good postseason, and he lived up to the hype that we got him. So I'm very happy to get him. I wish we could have got him earlier, but when we did get him, he was worth it. So that was pretty cool. Jeff Bagwell is another one of those guys that never played for us. I hate seeing these stat lines because, I mean, he didn't even play that much in AAA. I hate seeing these stat lines because he did so well for the Brewers. This wasn't one of those situations where I traded for him just to not to play against him. This was one of those things where I had good ideas. I had good intentions of playing Jeff Bagwell, but he just kind of dropped down. I mean, we had Big Papi there for a couple of years. We had Frank Thomas, obviously. So, I mean, and Ryan Howard. So he kind of never got his shot, and then he just kind of faded into nothingness, I guess. So it kind of sucks. I feel kind of bad about Jeff Bagwell, but he just never fit in with us. So Robbie Cano is one that I probably wouldn't trade for again. Not saying it was a bad trade, but I just don't vibe with Robbie Cano's play style. He doesn't really do the things that I like to do. He's not the quickest. He's not the best fielder at second base. He can obviously hit the ball a lot, but I just don't vibe with his swing or his timing. I just never get the timing down, and he just really never worked out for us. But he was decent while he was here. He just, I don't know, I just never felt right with him. Mickey Mantle. My man. My man. Was this a good pickup? Mickey Mantle spent 3 seasons in Seattle. 50 home runs, 40 home runs, 40 again. And then we move him to leadoff. And moving Mickey Mantle to leadoff might have been the greatest decision of this entire series because he hit 53 home runs, a 308 average, knocked in 129 at leadoff, and was just the best. Like, maybe if you guys do a series like this or a franchise like this, you should get Mickey Mantle and put him at leadoff because he's a glitch at leadoff. It's crazy the production that he did. And he even had a great year here in the final year. 320 average, 34 home runs, 119 driven in. I mean, he was just like the best player for a while. It was crazy. We got K-Rod at the trade deadline of this past season. He did his job, 231 average in 59 games. We played him in the postseason, played him in the World Series. He did his job. Some more guys down here, so I'm just going to skip around a couple of guys. Some of the guys didn't really play for us. Jack Flaherty did okay. Shane Bieber did all right, I guess. But it's kind of getting a little bit long just reminiscing on these players. So we'll skip around a little bit. Ricky Henderson is a guy that started to play more the final season. He was in AAA for the first 2 years. And then we moved him up here. He played 9 games and then moved him back down. And then he got up here. He was mainly up here just for speed. Like off the bench, if we needed a pinch runner situation, he was here. That's why we got him. Trey Turner we traded for and then really never played. I kept debating whether or not to bring him up or not. I did bring him up for the postseason in 2024. I know that he played in the postseason in 2020, or maybe it was 2023. He played in the postseason sometime. I know that. Griffey, we'll focus on Griffey here. I mean, this year is the first year I moved him to the DH position, and he completely had a bounce back year after 21 home runs. He kind of dipped off, but we kept him around because he's Ken Griffey Jr. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I love Ken Griffey Jr. Jeter, like I mentioned, never really developed into anything. Kind of feel bad. And he got demoted to the bench once we got Troy Tulowitzki. Hunter Green, we tried out, but when you got so many legends like this, it's hard to play these young real-life guys. We tried out Wander Franco, but he was really just destined for AAA. So was Hunter Green. So I didn't want to trade them because I do like these guys, but maybe next season, if we do get them, we'll trade them because they just really won't develop into anything that we can use. But that's going to do it for reminiscing about the actual roster. We're going to now go to the rest of the league, reminisce about some of the players that we used to have, some of the players that I wanted, and do all that. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, so going through some of the notable teams that formed throughout the 5 years that we have here. We got the Baltimore Orioles with Chipper Jones, Jose Reyes, who is somebody that I had on my list for a while to potentially try and trade for. And then it was down to Jose and Troy Tulowitzki, probably as the two most likely shortstops to trade for. I had decided with Troy Tulowitzki, and Jose Reyes stays on the Baltimore Orioles. But this team was never really that hard to battle. Their pitching staff never really gave me any trouble. There was the running joke throughout the series that every time we went to Baltimore, I always hit like 3 or 4 home runs in the game, or maybe even more at sometimes. I think that one of the games that Barry Bonds hit like 3 home runs in a single game was against the Orioles in Baltimore. So the Orioles were never really much of a threat to us. Neither were the Red Sox. We played them twice in the series, once in Fenway and then once at Yankee Stadium, I'm pretty sure. They really didn't do much this series. They were never a contender for the division, even not even just a contender for a championship. They were never even a contender for the division. So they really never built anything up. I mean, they had some decent pitchers. Zach Gallen was here. He's been here for 3 years now, so they had him. They have Tanner Tully, who was younger. He's been here for 2 years. I mean, they had some younger pitching, but they just never really found it, I guess. So the Red Sox never really were a challenge. There's us. The Rays were the biggest challenge that we had to face, besides the Diamondbacks, obviously. They were our biggest threat. They had so many good pitchers. They had Vita Blue, Fergie Jenkins, Brady Singer, Matt Manning. They had a couple other guys, I think, that played here for a couple years that aren't here anymore. But they had some dangerous hitters: George Foster, Ernie Banks, Paul Konerko, Edgar Martinez, Griffey Sr., Trevor Story, JT Realmuto. I mean, this team was a threat to us even the last year when we were going for the record. They, at the beginning of the season, started out better than us. So the Rays for a while were the real contenders for the AL East. That is for sure. And we finally defeated them once and for all, and in the ALDS this past season, and we dethroned, or we didn't, we exterminated the threat, you could say. The Blue Jays, we played them a couple times. They had Bo Jackson, who was also on my list of players to get. He didn't really do much in this series. He must have been hurt in year 3 because he only played 15 games, so he must have got hurt for the season. But other than that, he really didn't do much. Maybe he would have done something on the Yankees. Maybe he wouldn't have done anything. I don't know. It's probably a good thing we didn't get him because we had a lot of outfielders as it is. So it's probably a good thing that we didn't get him, but it would have been cool to have him. They also had Jim Edmonds, who was a nice player back in the day. We could have got him, but they really were never a threat either. We played them a couple times. I think they were the team that we got Are they the team that we got the shutout or the perfect game against? I'm not 100% sure if they were. I can't remember. That's been back in year number 1 that we got the perfect game. We only ever did one perfect game with Hyun-Jun Ryu. He was the only man to throw a perfect game for us in this series. The White Sox didn't really play them at all. They have older Bryce Harper. We have the young version of Bryce Harper. They have the current version of Bryce Harper. I don't think we ever played the White Sox. So I don't really know much about this team. I don't think they ever did anything. They had Barry Larkin the entire time, who didn't really do much. Probably more of a defensive guy, to be fair. So they had some decent pitching. I mean, Oral Hershiser, Sixto Sanchez, Cliff Lee. We traded them Cliff Lee. I remember that. We had him for a season. He pitched pretty well, but I think that was the year. I think I used... No, Randy Johnson wasn't in Chicago. I was going to say, I think I used him to get Randy Johnson, but I didn't. We did have Cliff Lee for a year, and he pitched pretty well. Other than that, I mean, it wasn't really much that the White Sox did. They had Dustin Pedroia, who I tried to trade for, could never get. He was the guy that I was trying to get other than Robbie Cano. I ended up getting Robbie Cano instead because I just couldn't trade. I just didn't have the pieces, I don't think, to get Dustin Pedroia. The Indians we played in the final year. As far as the Indians go, I don't really know much about them. We did trade them Joe Morgan, who we had for 3 seasons. He played really well. It was sad to see him go. I love Joe Morgan. We also traded them... Did we not trade them somebody else? I think didn't we trade them... We traded them somebody. Let me go through their lineup. Or let me go through their team and see if I can find somebody that looks familiar. Prince Fielder was a guy that I was targeting. It never just worked out, the timing or anything, to get him. But I was definitely targeting Prince Fielder to get. Joe Morgan, we already talked about. Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn's the other guy that we had. We had him for the first season. He was our leadoff guy. Then we moved him to the AAA, excuse me. We moved him to AAA, and then I just decided that it wasn't worth it to keep him. So we moved him to Cleveland, and he spent 3 years there, the final 3 years. He played pretty well. 285, 321, and 364. So he got really good results in Cleveland. This, by the way, is the final time you will probably, unless you watch other people's MLB videos, that you will see the Cleveland Indians in a YouTube video, at least in my YouTube videos, because next year they obviously will be changed to the Cleveland Guardians. So that'll be interesting. Maybe we do no, because I'm going to be back in the National League. But I was going to say maybe we do a Legends Fantasy Draft series with the Cleveland Guardians, but I'll be back in the National League because I rotate back and forth. So we'll go to the National League for that, but that would be cool. Maybe we'll do another little small series of the Cleveland Guardians. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. That's a long way in the future. The Tigers, we didn't play them, I don't think, at all. But we did trade them Babe Ruth. I do remember that. We had Babe Ruth for 2 seasons. He didn't really play much. As for hitting, he hit pretty well in the times that he got. But I wish that I would have had Babe Ruth longer. I think I used him to trade for... who did I trade for? I can't remember exactly. I know I traded for a pitcher and used Babe Ruth in the deal, but it just never worked out with Babe. He wasn't going to be in the starting rotation. I'm not a big fan of his windup. It takes too long. It's slow. It's just I don't like it. So I just traded him away. Adam Dunn is a guy that I targeted because he is probably my favorite player of all time. And it just never worked out the timing with that. Vlad Jr.'s here as well. They really never were a threat either, so I don't know. I didn't really see much about the Tigers. We played them, I think, but we never really had to worry about them. The Royals is where we got, what's-his-face, Troy Tulowitzki from, and we traded him... who did we trade to the Royals to get Troy Tulowitzki? It was... Who was it? Was it Tyler Stevenson? Tyler Stevenson was part of the deal. I know that. But he wasn't the main deal, obviously, the main part of it. Who was it? It wasn't Christian Yelich. No, he's been here the whole time. Was it a pitcher? Did we give them a pitcher for Troy Tulowitzki? I don't recognize any of these guys' names. I don't remember who we traded for Troy Tulowitzki, but I guess if you just go back in the series, you can find out if you're curious. But they really never came up against us. We played them one time, I think, in the final season, because it was Troy Tulowitzki's old team, so I thought might as well play it, and we obviously won that game. Yeah, they really never threatened us too much. The Twins, I don't think ever even made the postseason in this series. They might have, and I just missed it. They just didn't build a very good team. They had Gary Sheffield, who we had for a season, and then we moved him to AAA as well, along with the other guy that I was just talking about earlier. Wow, I forgot already. That's all right. Then we traded him away to the Twins, and they just didn't, like I said, they just didn't build a very good team. They were never really competitive. They got a good player in Gavin Lux and Rafael Devers, but they just didn't build a very competitive team, so they were never really a threat. The Astros were definitely a threat, that is for sure. Matt Chapman, Christy Matthews, Mike Piazza, Al Kaline, or Kaline, however you want to say his name, Tom Seaver, Fernando Tatis, Roberto Alomar. I mean, this team was stacked, and they definitely were some sort of threat. We played them a couple of times. I don't think we ever played them in the... we did play them in the postseason. I do remember that. But this team is definitely scary. Tatis was here the entire year, or the entire series. I think a lot of these guys were here the entire series. I don't think anybody spent a lot of money in free agency. We had Christy Matthews in the second year. We traded him. But Matt Chapman was here the entire year. They did a good job drafting. They definitely did a good job drafting. Corey Lee's up to a 95 overall, so good job on them. The Angels, our original Legends Fantasy Draft team from back in MLB The Show 20, where we only did 1 year, they did not build a good team either. I don't think they were ever really a threat. We had Zach Greinke for a year. We traded him away, and then the funny thing about Zach Greinke was we kept getting him, and then he kept getting like put on waivers and getting taken away. I think that happened like 2 or 3 times that Zach Greinke was on this team and then taken away. That's why he plays for Atlanta, Miami, New York, and LA, because I think we had him here in the offseason here. He got taken by Miami in the waivers. He played there. Then we got him back, and then I think he got taken again and played for LA. So a little fun little nugget for that. Then we move on to the A's, who we played. We gave them Roy Halladay. This is the team that we took Roger Clemens from. Roy Halladay was just not going to work out for us. We tried him at the beginning of this past final season, and he just wasn't getting it done. We were losing games, so I was like, you know what, we gotta move on from him. We gotta get somebody better, and it just so happened that they took the trade for Roger Clemens. I like Roy Halladay. Rest in peace, my guy. But you just didn't cut it for us in this game. So they had Vlad Jr., who we also traded. I think he was part of that Roger Clemens trade, or maybe he was part of the Jose Bautista trade, because he also came from Oakland. So we traded them. Both their 2 best players came from us. But they were never really a threat. We had Trevor Bauer. Did we not have Trevor? I thought we had Trevor Bauer. I guess we didn't. I thought we did. They had Bobby Witt Jr., who would given a couple more years probably goes up to a 92, 93. Manuel Margot is here. I mean, they have some younger pieces, not super young, but they've got some possibilities. They've got this guy, Robert Passon, who I think they drafted. Did they not draft this guy? They must have. I don't know, but he's pretty good. Then we move on to the Mariners, who Fernando Valenzuela, that's who I was thinking of. Fernando Valenzuela, we got from the Astros. That was who we traded Roy Oswalt to, I'm pretty sure, to get Fernando Valenzuela. We got him for a season. He was really good for us, but it just because it wasn't going to work out, we traded him to the Mariners, and this is where he's ended up. He's played pretty well, it looks like, with a 3.62. Actually, the ERA is a little bit high, but it was pretty high with us, 3.56. They have Alex Bregman here, Reggie Jackson, who was another guy that I was targeting. I was actually going to pull the trigger and get him this trade deadline, but I just decided to get Jose Bautista. They also had DJ LeMahieu, Ernie Banks, decent younger pitching or younger players like Brandon Lau, who was younger when the series started. Jared Kelenic, some nice prospects. I mean, this team has the possibility to make some noise in the postseason, given a couple more years. The Rangers, Todd Helton, who I almost traded for this trade deadline. Mike Trout, who I also almost traded for this trade deadline. This is where we got Bryce Harper from. They have a really good team. The Rangers were an immediate threat. The Rangers were in the divisional round, but they lost, I think, to the Astros. I'm pretty sure they lost. But there was a couple people on this team who I thought maybe I was going to try and trade for. I ended up not doing it. They also have Stanton down here, who's been here the entire time, right? Yeah, he's been here the entire time. They've got a lot of guys that have stayed. I mean, everybody that is at the top of their list has been here. Nomar Garciaparra was on the Mariners the first year, but everybody else was here the entire time. So that's cool. They have a really good team. If I was going to switch teams, I would probably pick the Rangers to switch to. To the National League, the Braves, we've played them a bunch. We sent them Frank Thomas. We had him for 3 seasons. Actually, technically, we had him for 2 seasons. But if you guys remember, after the first or second season, we did not sign him. He got signed by the Giants, and then we traded for him back. So that's why it doesn't say he ever played a game for the Giants. But we did have him for 3 seasons. Then I sent him to the Braves at the trade deadline to get somebody. I forget. But he's played here. He's played really well. He hasn't played as good as he did for us. I mean, 54 home runs in the first season was pretty crazy. So they also have Pete Rose, who I tried to get but just didn't have enough pieces to get. Obviously, Ronald Acuna Jr., who stayed here the entire franchise or the entire length of the series, plus was here originally. So that's pretty cool. You always like it when you do a fantasy draft and players end up on the same team that they're originally on. Jackie Robinson, we also sent here. This is who I thought I sent alongside Joe Morgan. It was Jackie Robinson, but we sent him to Atlanta alongside Frank Thomas. And they don't really have a good team besides the top half. The top 5 guys are pretty good. Other than that, it's okay, I guess. It's passable, but nothing really to worry about. The Marlins have younger Babe Ruth. He's been here for 3 seasons. The Indians had him for a couple seasons at the beginning. They have Pudge. We had Pudge for a year, the original year, year number 1. He played okay for us, but that's when we got, I think we traded, that's what we did. We traded Pudge for Johnny Bench, right? I'm pretty sure we did that. We traded Pudge for Johnny Bench. Walker Buehler is here. Grady Sizemore, who we had, I think, right? Yeah, we had for 2 seasons, actually, and then traded him at the deadline. Mark McGwire, who I wanted to get really bad, but I think I chose Sami Sosa. I can only have so many steroid guys, okay? And I chose Sami Sosa over Mark McGwire. Roy Oswalt, we had him for a couple of seasons. He is now in Miami and finishes out the save here. Dansby Swanson, Andrew McCutchen. Did we play this team in the World Series? I'd have to go back and check. I don't remember. I think we did. I think we might have played this team in the World Series one year. Because we didn't just play the Diamondbacks every year. The Mets, Mookie Betts was here the entire season. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was. And he's played really, really well in all the years. He's kind of declined this past season, but he's played really, really well. Luis Robert, Catfish Hunter, Ozzie Smith, Jock Peterson. This team is good if it was year number 1. But other than that, everybody's getting a little bit older. They've kind of got an older team. They're probably going to struggle if we keep going. Hank Aaron was on our team in the 2nd season. He didn't play much, so I decided, you know what, might as well trade him, get something for him. Mike Schmidt was another guy that I looked at but never really put too much pressure behind to get. Tom Glavine, Cal Ripken Jr., Luis Severino, Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson. This is a power team. This is a really good team. They were in the postseason this past year, I'm pretty sure, and made it to the divisional. I don't think they made it out of the divisional, but they could make some noise here pretty soon. They got a lot of 90s, a ton of 90s. They're a decent team. The Nationals, where we got good old A-Rod from in year number 2, they have Miguel Cabrera, who I really, really wanted. We obviously had him because he has a year that's missing. That's because he was on our team in AAA. But then I let him go. I don't think did I trade him or did I what did I do? Did I trade him or did I release or not sign his contract? I can't remember. I feel like I traded him. But he did not play, so then I wanted to get him back, but I ran out of time. Juan Pierre, this team is decent. Not the greatest team in the world. They do have Strasburg, who's still here. 36 years old. They were never really much of a threat. The Cubs, Kurt Schilling, another guy that I wanted to get, but just didn't have rotation room. Jimmy Rollins, Kenny Lofton, Dale Strawberry, Brian Hayes, John Lester. Thought I had him. Jose Ramirez, John Smoltz. Is this the old John Smoltz? This is the younger John Smoltz. Cubs never played him. Probably should have because their stadium is pretty cool, but I don't think they were on the schedule. And if they were, it wasn't a home game, or home series. But they were never really much of a threat, so we kind of just looked over them. The Reds had a really good year this past season, made it to the wild card game. Stan Musial was a home run hitting machine. Robin Roberts, Larry Walker, Joe DiMaggio, who I also wanted really hard to get, but I chose Mickey Mantle over Joe DiMaggio. Evan Longoria, Dwight Evans, Corey Seager, Chase Utley, who I almost got, actually. I almost got Chase Utley, but I think I got Glaber Taurus instead, because I think I tried to get three guys. I tried to get Chase Utley, Dustin Pedroia, and Glaber Taurus, and I ended up getting Glaber. So the Reds, my favorite team in real life, and they were never really much of a threat until the final season, but we never got to play them because, sorry about that, camera died. But we're back up and running again. What I was saying about the Reds was they never really much of a threat until the final season, but if given a couple more years, they probably make a run at the World Series, I would say, especially with this roster. They got a nice mix of young and a little bit older experience. Robin Roberts is their starter. They look like a good team. Josh Hamilton for the Brewers, I really, really thought about getting, just never did it. I don't know why, actually. It just never really felt right, I guess. Garcia, Kerry Wood, who we had, right? Yeah, we had for a year. And he pitched really well, 11-3. I can't believe that he didn't pitch better. He sucked, it looks like. 7-7, 5-14, 6-16. His ERA just grew higher and higher. Instead of I don't know what happened with him, but he just didn't mesh well with Milwaukee, I guess. Kevin Biggio, Max Fried, Jack Leiter. Not a good team. The Brewers, they were nothing. The Pirates are a pretty good team. Sandy Koufax was a monster, it looks like. Okay. This is something I did not know. So the year that he had to have won Cy Young. He had to have. Sandy Koufax in 33 games went 20-3 with a 1.91 ERA in a league with all of these great pitchers and great hitters and great everything. Wow. And I thought Randy Johnson's MVP Cy Young year was the best year of the entire save. No, I don't. I think Sandy Koufax takes that. I mean, you pitched a 1.91 in a league with Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Frank Thomas and all these home run hitters. Albert Pujols. I mean, wow, that is impressive. I never thought about getting Sandy Koufax, but maybe I should have. I definitely should have, it looks like. Aaron Judge, Lefty Groves, Shane Victorino, Billy Wagner, Jimmy Fox. How many home runs did Jimmy Fox hit? Not as crazy as I thought he probably could have. I mean, you're talking like 50 home run seasons back in the 30s. Blake Snell, Gary Sanchez, who we did not have. They were a good team. They were definitely a threat to the World Series. It just looks like the Diamondbacks were a little bit better. The Cardinals had Cody Bellinger. We played them. Eric Davis, Mike Soroka, Dustin May. This team is built for the long haul. They got a lot of guys that are super young. Well, not young anymore in terms of their age because we're 5 years in. But back in the original save, these guys are all super young. So they're built for the future. That is for sure. You guys may or may not know how good Dylan Carlson is because of the White Sox series that I did previously on the channel. This team's good. I like this team. Then we got the Diamondbacks, the team that we faced the most probably out of all NL teams because we played them in the World Series, I think 3 times. Maybe twice. Definitely twice, maybe a third. I can't remember exactly. They've got Alfonso Soriano, who we had for a season, 2 seasons technically. He was on our bench, or he's on our AAA team, and then we traded him midway through the 4th season to the Diamondbacks. And he went from there. Juan Soto, who I kind of wanted but never really got. He's too valuable. Carlos Correa, Sean Green, Eddie Matthews, Noah Syndergaard, who we absolutely torched in the postseason. He was on our team for a season, for 4 games actually. That's when he played. He was on our team for a season. Then Donnie Baseball played pretty well in one of the postseasons, I do remember. Corbin Burns. This team is good. I can see why they went to the World Series. I don't know how the Pirates lost to them, though. I feel like the Pirates have a better team. Manny Machado on the Colorado Rockies. How did he do in Colorado? Not as good as I thought. 2 26 home run seasons in Colorado? Okay. Johnny Damon, who I seriously thought about getting. He was on Minnesota for 3 years, then went to Colorado. I seriously thought about getting Johnny Damon. Byron Buxton, Frank Tanana, Clayton Kershaw, Grayson Rodriguez, Taylor Rogers, CJ Abrams, who was on our team, I'm pretty sure, for a while in AAA, never really played, and then looks like he showed up here. Decent team, not the greatest. The Dodgers, Dontrell Willis, another guy that I wanted but never could get. Javi Baez, Aaron Nola, Cole Hamels, Nick Markakis, Jose Barrios. This team feels like a Dodgers team, doesn't it? They've got a really good starting pitcher, a really good position player, and then some good players behind him. It feels like a Dodgers team. Albert Pujols, another guy that I really, really wanted, but just never pulled the trigger on, just like a Miguel Cabrera type. This team is not as good as their other teams in their division, so I can see why they never really made any noise. As for the Padres, Yadi Molina, who I hate, Adam Jones has been here the entire time. Really good stats for him. Willie Stargell, Rob Dibble, who we had for a season, I think. I know what happened. We had him on our team, and then he got waived and picked up by the Padres, I'm pretty sure. Not by the Braves, I don't think. By the Padres. You had Eugenio Suarez, J.P. Crawford, Lucas Giolito, Kyle Schwarber, Mark Pryor. We had Mark Pryor the year he had the 18-1 season. I cannot believe that we had a guy actually go 18-1. Like, think about what Sandy Koufax did, where he went 20-3 with a 1.91 ERA. We had a guy go 18-1 and still put up 3.83 as his ERA. Like, just think about how crazy the Sandy Koufax stats are. But we were gonna make Mark Pryor like our number 2, I think, at this point. But I remember what happened. This is the year. Is this the year that we traded Mark Pryor for Randy Johnson? Because Randy Johnson was on the Padres. Did we trade Mark Pryor for Randy Johnson? I can't remember. I think we did. What a big brain move. What a big brain move. I cannot believe that. I think we did. That has to be the case, because I can't think of anybody else who we would have been able to trade to the Padres to get Randy Johnson. And then we get to the San Francisco Giants, the final team we'll go over. They have the younger version of Ken Griffey Jr., who played pretty well the final 3 years. He developed as he got to San Francisco. Jason Giambi, Joey Gallo, Roberto Acuna, who we traded in the offseason, I think, because he was starting to decline a little bit as we had him. Luis Castilla, Tyler Glasnow, good team. Garrett Cole, he's a little bit older now. Very good team. Never really much of a threat. I can see why the who came out? I think the Padres came out of the division more than any other team. But with all of that being done, we can take a look at some of the league leaders around the league. I don't think I took a look at this yet. We can go through. Look at the Diamondbacks leading in at-bats. The top 7 guys all play for the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are a good team, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you realize that. The Diamondbacks are a very, very good team. I'm not going to read all this stuff because it would take a while, and this video is already pretty long. So we'll just go through. Ooh, Yankee at-bats. Let's go. We'll just go through quickly and look at the postseason stats for these guys just to finish things out here. And then I want to show you guys if I can find it, GM goals. So one of the final things we'll look at is the GM goals. So we had 5 seasons. We went 162. in the first season, lost in the ALDS. Like I mentioned, that was because I didn't take out the pitcher, and it was bad. So we won the division, but we lost in the ALDS. We come back the next year, win 113 games, and win the World Series, our first one of the series. Then the next year, we repeat. We go 114 and 48. We win the division. We win the World Series. The next year, we get the exact same record. Think about how hard that is to do. Back-to-back years, you get the exact same record. This is the year, by the way, that we were going for the wins record and just came a little bit short at the end. We started losing a couple games that we probably shouldn't have, and we just we got lost track of our agenda and lost the record. But we did win the World Series, so that's 3 in a row. We won the division, and then the very final year, year number 5, was probably the best year anybody's had in MLB The Show, because we won 121 games. We broke the 2001 Seattle Mariners record of 116 wins in a regular season. We crushed it, and we won the World Series. So we completed everything that I wanted to do. Win the division, win a World Series, win 3 World Series, and get the wins record. We did all of that and more in this series. We have a GM rating of A. Our job security is high. We're not getting fired because we have a track record of 4 straight World Series. So our goals for team performance: win 10 consecutive games. We have 7. Win 10 consecutive series. We have 1. Win 20 games in a single month. We won 13. Win 95 games in a season. We won 121. So, actually, no, I'm reading that backwards. The status is what we did. The count is how many times we did it. So, we won 10 consecutive games 7 times in the series. That's what I was misreading. Then we only won 10 consecutive series 1 time. We won 20 games in a single month 13 times. And we won 95 games every year. And we finished with the best record of the majors all 5 years as well. So, our performance was pretty good. So our postseason performances: win the wild card game. We never played in it, so we couldn't win it. We swept the division series twice. We did not ever sweep the league championship series. We never swept the ALCS, which is very interesting. I thought we may have done that once. And we only ever swept the World Series 1 time, and I'm pretty sure it was the final year. I think we only went to 4 games against the Diamondbacks because I know we won the World Series in Arizona, so that would make sense because we were the higher seed. We played the first 2 games in New York and then went to Arizona for the next 3, and we won in 4. So we only ever swept them once, and we never went undefeated in the postseason, something that we'll have to work on for next year's installment, going undefeated in the postseason. Some game stats: we scored 20 runs in a single game once. We never struck out 20 batters in a single game. I thought Randy Johnson got pretty close. He had to have had like 18 or 19. He was very close. Hit 5 home runs in a single game. We did that 47 times in this series. Steal 5 bases in a single game. We did that twice. Hit 7 doubles in a game. We did that 4 times. Hit 3 triples in a single game. We did that 5 times. And turn 4 double plays in a single game. We never did that. League leaders: we led the league in triples 1 time, led the league in home runs 1 time, led the league in runs 1 time, and led the league in wins twice. We didn't do a lot of other stuff, though. We led the league in ERA twice, led the league in strikeouts 3 times, led the league in complete games twice, and led the league in whip twice. So that's pretty cool. And then that's all the little postseason / regular season historical things that we've done. And I don't think there's really anything else that we can talk about. We've gone over some memories. We've gone over some of the players throughout this little series that we've done here. Some of the guys that we have had over the time. Some of the players that I talked to you guys about. Some of the players that I thought about getting. My thought process throughout all this. Cy Young and MVP for Randy Johnson, which is just crazy. We finished with the top 3 guys in the Cy Young Award this year. But I do want to leave you guys with a little video that was made by Megalodon, one of the subscribers here on the channel, one of the loyal subscribers on the channel. So I just wanted to give you a very big shout out and a very big thank you for doing this, because you saved me a lot of time in which I could do other stuff, which like record this video. But I just want to leave you guys with a little video, a little bit of a montage of some of our best moments of the series. And I do want to say thank you guys so much for the support on this series, for the support on every series that I do, and for getting over 500 subscribers and on the road to 1,000 subscribers. That would be amazing to get 1,000 subscribers, man. That would just be a dream come true. But I do want to say thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I love every single one of you guys just so much. For watching me play games for a living is just the best thing in the world, and I love all you guys that do it, and even the people that don't subscribe. I love you guys too. Yeah, because you click on the videos. Just because you don't subscribe doesn't mean that you don't like me. You may just not feel like subscribing. I feel like that too sometimes. I don't subscribe to a lot of people that I watch. Not all of them, but I subscribe to a few. But I do want to say that I love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around this series. I know baseball is not the biggest fan favorite, not only in real life but on YouTube, especially with a channel that does mainly Madden stuff. You guys seem to show your support on the videos, getting it over double-digit views every time and stuff. So I really appreciate it, man. And there's good things to come next April or March, whenever MLB The Show 22 drops. We'll come back at it and we'll get another series going, some team in the NL, whoever it may be, and we'll go from there and do another Legends series. But I do want to say thank you guys once again so much, so much for watching all these videos. Not every video, you don't have to watch every video, but watching all these videos, whatever one you do watch. And I say it every time, I love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Smash that like button one more time. Hit that notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. Join the Juice Club. We'd love to have you. And now I leave you with the best moments from this New York Yankees Legends Fantasy Draft series. Peace. Enjoy.
Make that play.
Yes, Tony Gwynn pops it into center. That's going to be a run. Chipper, get in there. Get home, Chipper. Let's go. We start the game. I need something in the out.
This one is blasted to right field. Nothing's gonna stop it. And this ball is gone.
Joe Morgan with his 9th home run of the season. Oh, baby. Probably not. He's not gonna expect it. That's back-to-back strikeouts. We are a cooking. Okay. They're gonna make me work for it, aren't they? Let's go! Outside. Come on, Mr. Bench, the greatest catcher of all time. That's gone. That is gone, ladies and gentlemen. Boom! It's this slider, my guy. Strikeout. Boom! Get out of here, Alvarez. You don't stand a chance against Lefty Grove.
Swing and a high fly ball out to left field. Back on it is the left fielder.
Oh! He is. That's gonna be it! Wright Howard does it!
On top of the baseball world, the Yankees are once again World Series champs.
Oh, that's a big boy hit. That's a big boy hit. That's a double for Jackie. I'm going to send Johnny. I'm sending Johnny home. I'm sending Johnny home. I'm sending Johnny home. Triple. And it's going to be a pop-up to Ricky. Booyah! Let's go. Back to back. Back-to-back champs, baby. Accurate timing. Could have been more damage. Joe Mauer's sending that to the yard. Joe Mauer with a 3-run dinger, baby. Get the home run symbols out. I've personally never done it, and I'm only going to get 19. But ladies and gentlemen, the three-peat has been completed. The three-peat is done. And he's going to... I thought I missed that for sure. That bad boy's out of here as well. That did not feel good off the bat at all. I thought I popped that up for sure. down these boys. And that's going to be a deep one to center field. Mickey Mantle goes up for it, and he caught it, Mickey Mantle! Cutter, and got him.
And it's over. They are World Series champions.
4 straight, baby. 4 straight for the New York Yankees.
Wow, World Series champions.
What a way to go out.
The only thing that could have made this sweeter would have been doing it in front of the home crowd. But hey, they're not complaining.
What a
believe
way to
me.
go out.
Now they can look forward to celebrating during the parade as they bring the World Series trophy home. What a
It would have
moment
been
for
nice
this
to win
team,
it in Yankee
this
Stadium,
organization,
but
and that city.
when you got a chance to,
Back
we
now
go out
the
on a
show.
high note.
More reactions now to this series clinching victory.
Unbelievable. Griffey's excited. Everyone's excited. They won their 4 straight champs. Back to back to back to back. Mickey Mantle's jumping up for
down
joy.
On the field, we'll get a chance to watch the presentation of the
There it is,
Commissioner's
boys.
Trophy to the
There
new
it
World
is.
champs.
Donnie Mattingly, Donnie Baseball getting 4 straight titles. Everybody's hype up for it. That's straight hype.
For my partners, Mark
There it
DeRosa,
is.
Dan Plesac, and
2025
our
World
entire
Champion.
Fall Classic
31st
crew.
World
I'm Matt
Series
Vasgersian.
title for the New
You've
York
been
Yankees
watching the
organization.
World Series.
Big time W's, boys. Big time W's.